Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So this is a very different video. You're normally used to seeing vlogs on my channel, but I want to start switching up the content. And I actually had an idea to build an app just for myself, just a tool. And I thought, you know what, let me just record the video, record the whole process, my whole planning, development, absolutely everything, and put it up on YouTube for you guys to see. Just so you guys can get an idea of, how you can build applications for yourself, for your company, maybe launch your own SaaS products, whatever the case may be. So the idea is a Qur'an memorization app. Now I know what you're thinking. No, it's not like Tarteel. Tarteel is very, very good at what it does, but I'm not trying to go for that. And the best way I can explain what I'm trying to do is just giving you how I came up with the idea. So while I recite Qur'an, I have my Mus'haf open. I've then got a translation on my iPad, and then my phone has the Tarteel app on it. That's how I do it. And then I'll listen and I'll recite, and then I'll listen and I'll recite and memorize. And how I do it specifically is I'll read the passage 30 times, looking, so literally just reading it. If I make a mistake, I then restart that tally. So it has to be 30 times, no fail. And then I will try and recite the passage 30 times without looking. If I make a mistake, I can do a little quick read. And then completely Mus'haf closed, everything, just reciting 30 times. Now, what I struggle with is keeping track of those tallies. Now, I used to have a tally app. I use the tally app. It's not the same. Because then I'm switching between Tarteel and then pressing buttons, and I have to switch between apps. It's just long. So what I would much rather have is a web application on my Mac, and I can just, use shortcuts and press, I don't know, W, and it will, tick up the tally. I can do Command W or something, and it will reset it. I haven't thought exactly what I'm going to do, but that's roughly how I'm thinking. Because then what I could do is have my hands on my Mac, look at my Mus'haf. If I make a mistake, okay, just, with my left hand, tap, 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 tap. Do you get it? So that's my idea. What I'm going to do is, build the application completely from scratch. So what I'm going to do first is, if you go to my GitHub, you will see this here, web app template. And what you can do is just download this. Right, and I've just moved it into my documents, and I've called it Qur'an Tracker. Once that's done, open up Cursor, just go to File, Open, or Open Folder, and then open up that folder. Right, so now what I'm going to do is just open up Claude as well now. Then what I'm going to do is go into Claude and open a new project. I'm going to call this Qur'an Memorisation Tracker and Application 2. Right? And now I'm literally going to tell Claude everything I've just told you. And I'm going to use something called Super Whisper. What I want to do is build an application that will help me memorize Qur'an. This will be a web application, so I'll be using Next.js, Tailwind, TypeScript. And essentially, it doesn't need to be anything complex. It needs to be based and designed using Shad CN components. And let me just give you the workflow of what I have in mind for this application. So while I'm reciting with my Qur'an in my hand, and when I have my hands on my keyboard, with my other hand, and I can basically move up a tally, right? So how it works is I will recite the passage 30 times. I will then review it 30 times, and then trying to memorize it off by heart 30 times. So each section, and when I have a shortcut, so on the keyboard, that will increase the tally. I then need to have a way to decrease the tally, and then a way to reset the tally. And this needs to be for each category. That is all we need to develop for the moment. I then eventually would like to add some more complex functionality to this application. So what I also would like is to have a surah tracker. So I would know I'll be able to enable which surah I will be reciting or memorizing. And then that tally will link to that specific surah. And we can keep all of this information in a database on Supabase. But yeah, I would like all of that information a reference to each surah. So then, for example, I can memorize different surahs at different times, and my data will still be intact. It would then also be nice to have a reminders type of thing. So for example, it can say, okay, you've memorized this verse enough times today, come back in a week, and then when I come back in a week, it will say, don't forget to recite this specific surah, right? So just put all of this information into your memory, write out some project instructions, and then explain back to me if you understand what I've just explained to you and what you think the application needs to be. And then we can go from there in terms of building it. Cool. So as you can see, I literally just spoke, right? I don't know where this part came from. I will see you in the next video. Bye. But Khotan, which I believe is, yeah, I don't know where I got Khotan from. I was, maybe because I said Qur'an, it got a bit confused. But as you can see, I literally just spoke, right? So with Super Whisper, you can just speak your thoughts, and it will format everything into, you know, a nice sentence or paragraph in this case, and then you can see how the application, and then you can see how the AI will start to understand it, and it's got it perfect. 3 counts, recite, review, memorize, keyboard short. Perfect. Yes, you understand the application perfectly. One thing I want to stress as well is it may not always be 30 times, because sometimes it may be very easy for me to memorize a specific verse. So I want to be able to change the tally also. But this is the beautiful thing about Claude, is it will actually try and design what the application will look like. Not that I asked it to, but it's cool to get an idea. I'm also wondering where I'm going to get these surahs from. I don't really want to manually input them. AI might be able to do it for me, actually. It looks like it's actually built it. Claude hit max length. Yeah, I don't need... I'm going to hit continue anyway, but I don't need this much information. I should have said don't code anything, just think for now. But let's see. Okay, I'm going to stop it and just say, just give me a preview of what it will look like. You don't need to build. All right, so I'm assuming it will just build it out now in terms of the UI. That's all I need. I just want to get a rough idea of, you know, what I'm building here. Okay, I mean, this looks not that bad, actually. I mean, obviously it looks a bit ugly. I don't think it's properly built this with shadzy and components, but that's not bad. I'm going to copy that anyway. Just going to copy that. Actually, you know what, we'll leave that for now. Okay, cool. So put all of this information into a... Okay, make... What we're doing here is just asking Claude to make a markdown file. And then I will give this file to Cursor, so Cursor will know what we're actually building. Change it to Qur'an, not Khotan, because that's really going to annoy me. Now, the people who say Cursor is rubbish and it doesn't work are the same people who don't spend this much time planning. You need to spend this much time planning, making all your markdown files, really understanding your project, how you're going to implement it. Cursor works really well if you yourself know the vocab, you know the authentication, databases, local environment, all these type of things. And it will also work even better if you understand how an application is built. Like, yes, you can just open up Cursor and say, build me this, and it will build it for you. Oh, I hit the limit because it was coding so much. I might have to change the model. That's fine. To be fair, I can leave it and change it myself if it's a big deal. Like, yes, you can just open up Cursor and say, build me this, and it will build it for you. But the real power of Cursor comes when you know yourself, what you're building, how to build it. Like, you might not need to know perfectly. I've hit my limit of Claude, so it might not work, but let's see. Cool. I'm going to download this. I'm going to go to documents. I am going to find Qur'an tracker. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call it project docs context.md. I will then find project overview, save that, project overview.md. That should be fine. So now we can go into cursor and we can actually start building this thing. So what I'm going to do is Command I to bring up the cursor composer, change this to agent, and I'm going to say follow cursor rules throughout this conversation. Read all the files in project docs. Right, so first what I'm going to do is tell cursor to actually tell me what we're building, because what this does is it allows it to plan, think, and really understand the context of what we're building today. Okay, so now I know why it's called Khotan. They've actually named it already. So Qur'an on track and navigate. Fair play. It's done branding for me already. What I'm going to do now is just speak to cursor using Super Whisper. And this is what people call vibe coding. I'm not doing any coding. My hands are going to be here. I'm going to let cursor do the whole thing. I'm just going to talk. Great. What I want you to do now is just implement this application. First, start off with the main dashboard. Make sure you use shard-CN components as much as possible. If you need anything from me, just ask me questions. In terms of the super-based stuff, just give me the SQL queries and I can put that in the SQL editor in Superbase. But for now, just design the dashboard, design the main tracking page as well, where we can start tracking our surahs and memorization. And then, yeah, let's start off with that for now. Right, so it was, as you can see, very rough, just speaking to cursor like a human. Let's see how it does. So now it seems like it's asking me questions just to make sure that it gets the right thing. So let's go through them live. Let's just do a grid and list view. So I have a button to allow the user to toggle. We do want recent activity and large practice orders. We also want the memorization statistics. We don't need to have Arabic text. I would like a compact view. We don't need any metadata for now. Let's do a light mode. Color preference, let's do like a dark green for us, it's Islamic vibe. I would like a sidebar navigation. We don't need to do anything related to Next.js. I've already got the project here for you. Just do shard-CN components. Right. I spoke very, very quickly to see how good it would work. I think it wants me to run this, so I'm just going to do that. But these are all the wrong commands. So I think what happened is my Super Whisper actually had a bug, and it didn't work from this point on. So I had to redo it, but I think that's what's caused this issue here. What I will do is let it build everything first, and then we'll install the shard-CN components once we get loads of errors, which I think is going to start having now. But this is what I mean by, yes, you can't just come into Cursor and build anything you want. You need to know what you're doing. You need to plan things properly. AI won't take over devs, but devs who use AI will take over devs who don't. So it's clearly not reading the rule that I've got in Cursor rules, because this is the wrong command. This isn't how you install shard-CN components. I will say to this as well. So I'm going to say read .cursor rules. Cool, so now we're just going to let it run and do its thing. This is vibe coding, just talking to cursor, let it do its thing. Let's do New York, neutral, force. Perfect, and then let's run all of these. I've just finished installing all the shard-CN components, so do you want to check the linter errors now? Linter errors are things like this. Again, I don't know exactly what it is. Don't need to know. Cursor will do it all for me. Yes, let's wire everything together. I want to open up my local environment and see what this thing looks like, and then I will get to doing the Supabase integration myself. Right, so I'm just going to save this. I'm going to run in here npm run dev. Fine, so straight away we get an error. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. I'm getting this error, paste it, just let it do its thing. Seems like my cursor is being a bit buggy today, but it's fine. Boom. That looks sick. We're still getting this error here. I'm just going to copy this and then just do this. Just so we can get that gone, and then we can work on this and just see how it looks. Wow. This is sick. So what I want to see is, okay, so far it's only put 2 surahs in, which is fine. But I would suppose, so R to increase, F to decrease, reset all, press escape to reset all counters, R recitation. Sick, so I could just go, nice. Nice. So I could go, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Right, so if you're trying to memorize a verse, you could just do that. And then if you get it wrong, oh no, start again. Now, this isn't really how I do it. How I do it is, it's like a streak basis. So if I go up and then I make a mistake at number 7, I'll start again. That's how I do it. So we will make that change here. This is really good, but can we change how we do the incrementation? So for example, what I do is I will recite up to a certain point, and if I make a mistake, I will restart again. So this reset all button, I essentially need a button or a shortcut or both to reset each category of counter. But this is cool. This is really cool. Eventually what I'll do is I'll just put every surah here. It doesn't matter what verse it is, it just needs to be the name. And then it will save this. Eventually what I'll do is I'll put every surah here. So you could just select what you're learning, and then it would save your statistics of like your memorization. So let's do T, Y, right? And it would save it. And then you could like look back on what surahs you memorized, what surahs you haven't memorized. Because obviously you select it from here, right? Okay, so what it's done is it's changed this already, so it must be done here. Yep. So it's done it here. So 1, 2, 3. So for example, if I'm reciting, let's go Surah Fatiha. Let's reset. So go Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay, right, so let's say I memorized it. I've read it 10 times. Cool. I made a mistake. 1, boom. We'll go to the beginning. Amazing. This is really, really, really good. Can you update the context.md file with all of the changes that we've made? Use code snippets for each feature. Also mention any bugs that we've had and put code snippets for those bugs, and then code snippets for the fix of those bugs, and then explain everything with extreme detail. What this file is meant to do is, if we ever get these same problems again, I don't want it to struggle. I want it to just fix them and actually preempt the fact that we get these bugs. I don't want it to have these bugs ever again. That actually didn't make any sense, but Cursor will understand. Cool. While it's doing that, I'm just going to go into Supabase and I'm going to set up a new database. So I've already got quite a lot here, and I'm going to name it Qur'an Tracker. For you, it should be free, but I've got a lot of projects. So I'm just going to get this database password and save it somewhere. Give me a sec. Now you could use Firebase. I've heard it's free, but I'm used to using Supabase. Cool. So I've just blurred out all of my API keys so you don't steal my app. But Cuss has done that. Fine. What I'm going to do is, because everything works now, I'm going to hit accept all. And I'm just letting Superbase finish this thing here. So setting up projects. Once that's done, we can start doing. Actually, what I'm going to do here is just go. Okay, great. I've set up my Superbase project. Can you please give me the SQL queries that I need to input into the SQL editor in Superbase? Right, so once your database is ready, it should look like this. Go to SQL editor and then just start copying and pasting these queries. So let's go to the top. I'm just going to copy this one, paste, run. Perfect. So then if you go to table editor, you should see all your tables here. So these are all the surahs. So this is a reminder section. So this would essentially, yeah, so it's got the dates and stuff. Memorization, progress, activity log, fine. Now that that's done, now that you've given me all of the Superbase queries, I've set up my Superbase properly. I'm going to give you my API keys and stuff. Can you connect this application to Superbase? So, you know, whenever memorization is done and the tallies are incremented, I want all of that information to be saved into Superbase. I then also want the statistic section of the application to show some statistics about my memorization, please. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, here is my URL. Here is my API key. I'm not going to show you guys, but just paste it in here. Okay, so it looks like everything is done and is set up properly. So what essentially we should see is, let's just go to memorization log or in memorization progress, go to my application. As you can see, everything is here. The statistics are empty at the moment. Okay, cool. And it's looking like it's pulling all of this, all of these surahs from the database, which is perfect. So let's say I go into Surah Fatiha. Oh, the keyboard shortcuts are not working. This works. Again, error. Okay, fine. So I tried to use the keyboard shortcuts to increment the tally, but it doesn't seem to be working. I then pressed the plus button to increment it myself, and it gave me an error. Let me give you the error. Oh, okay, fine. Fine, so it seems like it's working now, so let's try it. Okay, there we go. So, ooh. Okay, let's try that again because it works once and the error happened. So I want to find out. So as soon as we open the project, we get this issue. As soon as I open the app, I get this. And then what happens if I try and increment? Oh, it doesn't even work now. Okay, cool. Let's hit that. Maybe it's trying to save the data in real time, which is causing the problem. And all the sorters have gone now, so it's like it's not putting anything from Superbase. No, the tables have definitely been created, but it looks like the application isn't fetching any data from Superbase because I've tried to select a sorter and there's nothing there. So just ensure that the connections are properly working. Okay, now it's working fine. Let me select a sorter. Whoa, okay. I've got 6 errors. So now I'm going to copy and paste every single one. Yeah, it's definitely not fetching data properly from Supabase. Which is interesting. I never usually have this problem, but this shows the reality of building products. But this is cool because when it gets to the end and this application works and you get the aha moment, it feels amazing. Like nothing will beat that. Right, let's go back now. Let's refresh this. So I can select, damn it still has the same problem. So the application works, but then when I select a surah, it gives me these errors, which is interesting because the surah table definitely has the surahs in it. I'm looking at it in Supabase right now. So I'm not sure why this problem is occurring. I'm going to send that there. I'm then going to do Command Shift R just to refresh again. Yeah, no, same problem. Interesting. This is also fake, clearly. But this is nice. It looks nice. We've got a list and a grid view, which is cool. Let me just run you through the flow. When I select a surah, nothing should change. I should just be able to then log, with the tallies, with the counters, and then that log information gets saved to the database. That's all that needs to happen. I think it's trying to, implement something a little bit more complicated than we actually need. And the fact that it's doing slow requests doesn't help. Yeah, look, we're making the flow too complicated. We're immediately trying to fetch progress data, which isn't necessary since there might not be any progress yet. Let's simplify the flow. Yeah, perfect. Really and truly, we don't need to fetch anything from in this section. We only need to fetch it in the statistics section. Right, let's see. Perfect. Right. Tallies still don't work. So when I select a surah, it works fine. But the tally still isn't working. What I think is best to do is we increase the tallies, and then add a save button on the page. So then when the user presses the save button, it will then save the information to Supabase. I think the problem is we're constantly trying to save the information, which is causing this problem. We don't need that. That's too complex. Again, because I'm making this application for myself, I don't really care about user experience. Like, it's for me. At the end of the day, you're not, going to be revising and you want it to save straight away because you're not going to stop revising or memorizing, I should say, until you're done in that set period. And then when that set period is done, you just hit save. It's not that deep. Okay, cool. So we've now got a save progress button. So we can go to Al-Fatiha. That works fine. This increases perfectly fine. Oh no, we made a mistake. Reset. Fine. Okay, let's just increase it all the way. And then we've reviewed it. Okay, I can hold it, which is nice. And then I've memorized it. Right, I hit save. Okay, we get an error, fine. Okay, this is good progress, but when I've completely memorized it and I press the save progress button, I get the error. When I press the save progress button, it should save, the memorization statistics to Supabase and to the activity log, and then show that information in the statistics tab in the sidebar. Right, let's see if this works. Let's not do all the way. Let's see if it works halfway. Save. Same thing. Let's try it all the way. Because it might be expecting to only see, completed tallies. Nope. Same thing. Nope. We still get the exact same problem. Judging by the error codes, it again looks like it's just not saving the progress properly to the Superbase database. We're also having a use client error on the statistics page, but that's not related specifically to the saving problem. The other reason why this might be getting confused is I haven't exactly specified what data I want to save, right? I've just said save the progress data. What does that even mean? I think the problem might be is we haven't really specified what type of data I want to save. We've got an activity log table and a memorization table, right? All I want to do is save the recite count, so the tally count, and then put the total count, which is recite target, so that'll be 30. Or recite target, review target, memorization target is all 30. And then just timestamps. And yeah, so it's very simple. Activity log, I don't really think we actually need an activity log at the moment, but we can leave that for now. But all I want you to do is just fill in the memorization progress table with this information and then specify it to what surah it is. Sorry, my food arrived. So yeah, it looks like it just refreshed, which is weird, but let's go back into it. SQL. We'll paste that. Run. That worked fine. We'll go back into this. Refresh. Saved. Statistics are now showing everything. Perfect. Done. Right, so let's do another surah. Obviously, everyone should know Surah Fatiha. Let's just complete Surah Fatiha. Save. Statistics. Perfect. So you could even add like a surahs memorized section in here and it would know. This is sick. Recent activity doesn't work because remember we're not doing the activity logs. That's fine. But yeah, like I can now sit here and use this application to memorize my Qur'an. What I want to do actually is have every surah in here. This is perfect and it works absolutely perfectly. Can you add all of this information into context.md? And once you've done that, can you please add every single surah from the Quran in the database? Give me the SQL query for that. And then can you add like a search field? So when you can choose a surah, I also want to be able to search for the surah and it will bring out the right one in the drop down menu. Cool, so it's literally adding every single surah. What I don't want it to do though is it's adding okay, if not exists, fine. I was worried that it would add the same surah twice, these ones here. But it shouldn't do. Let's see. Duplicate. I'm just gonna go to this and say I got this. This is complicated. I'm just gonna say to it, we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what I mean by you need to know how to read code and understand, building applications to a certain point. You need to be able to look through Superbase. But it's nothing that you can't learn, right? You can go on YouTube, you can learn how to read the table editor, you can learn a little bit about SQL. And within a day, within 2 days, you should know how to do this type of stuff. Even if you don't, you can just ask Cursor, how do I do X, Y, Z? You can go into chat, what does this code mean? But this is really, really addicting. Once you start seeing like your ideas from your brain become a reality, it's insane. I don't know why it's got 9 down here. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's in chronological order, which is fine. But I can I search? Fatiha. Perfect. Hard. So let's just say, for example, Fajr. I know the whole of Surah Al-Fajr off by heart, so I can just max it out. Obviously, I can add something in here where I can manually say, okay, I know this whole surah off by heart. Surah started, memorized, right? So I've got all this here. This is sick. But yeah, I think we'll end this video here. Hopefully I've shown you guys how you can build an application within it's been an hour. I've been recording this. But yeah, so like any ideas that you have, go into Claude, go into ChatGPT, plan them out properly, and you can literally build anything that's in your brain. If you want to learn more in depth of how to do something like this, add, more depth, more complexity, and how to actually publish applications, so you can make money, maybe even start a software agency. I've got a community, the link will be in the description below. Hop in, there's a lot of brothers in there that are building really, really, really cool things. And we hop on calls every now and then and we build together. It's a really, really nice community. So hop in, inshallah. Let's learn together. I teach you guys everything from the complete basics, even if you know nothing about code, to build applications as well. So yeah, man, hop in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below if you like this, anything you may be struggling with, and inshallah the next videos that I put out, I can base those videos around your feedback. Cool. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.